And today's class is going to focus on the hips, and freeing the hips can often solve a lot of tightness that's in the back, in the knees. And so the goal for today, instead of thinking about, getting deep into our poses or like opening the hips in a deep way, rather finding smoothness in the movements that we're going to explore through the hips, because the smoother we move, the more muscles have to engage in a subtle way to support us. So we're going to repeat things a lot so that each time we can find more and more ease and glide and turn on all those little tiny muscles that don't get a lot of love. So with that, welcome, we can begin. We will begin on our backs. So take a quarter turn to your left, extend your legs, and slowly recline onto the back. And take a moment to close the eyes and feel the weight of your body, not in a heavy, bound way, just in like a grounded, soothing, awareness building way. Just imagine that more and more of your body can contact the earth, just like a subtle softening of the edges, even like a pooling sensation. And from this very soft, receptive physical posture, notice the natural reception of the breath. You don't have to reach out for it. Just let each inhale gently land upon you without effort. And with each exhale, see if you can tune into that softening, pooling feeling as you let go completely of breath, but also of thoughts, of physical tension, anything we can let go of. Feel free to make any adjustments to the body as you become more and more aware. You may notice an asymmetry or an area of tightness, and just see if you can wiggle around a little bit, letting jaw soften, letting neck lengthen, letting shoulders anchor towards the rib cage. We'll just take the next few moments to observe the breath before we begin moving. I know I don't cue the breath a lot as you're moving because I want it to be as natural as possible and as unique as possible for each of you. And so let's just spend a little extra time observing the breath before we move, and make the intention to keep feeling the breath throughout our movements, and I'll do my best to help remind you as well. If you are following along with the playlist, you can hit play on the first track, Maria, and then come back to this resting position. And gently start to walk the feet towards the hips, bend the knees, and let the soles of the feet come towards the earth. And walk the feet slightly forward, slightly wider, until you find a place that feels really spacious for the pelvis, for the knees, for the ankles. Feel the weight of the soles of the feet on the earth. And notice we often have a tendency to roll weight on the inside of the feet or the outside, and so just be conscious of that. And then see if you can point the knees straight up and let the 3 points of each foot naturally equalize in their balance. So the inside and outside of the ball of the foot, the center of the heel. Just like a triangle, like a duck foot. And then start to make little tiny movements with the knees side to side, like windshield wipering, but we're only moving 1 degree to each side. So really tiny windshield wipers. And as you do this, first notice what you feel. Is the first thing you feel in the feet? Is it in the low back? Is it in the hip sockets? Is it in the knee? And then start to feel how all of those areas are connected. Even though we're barely moving, these minuscule windshield wipers. Start to notice the weight gently shifting in the feet. The weight gently shifting in the low back. And then as it feels appropriate for you, allow the windshield wipers to get slightly bigger, so maybe 2 degrees in each direction. And then 3. And then 4. So it really is gradual and very slow. As the movements get slightly larger, you may notice the sensation traveling a little wider on the low back, slightly towards the outer edge of the hips into all 3 layers of the glute muscles. And then eventually, as the swaying gets larger, you might start to feel the spine rotate slightly. You don't have to make anything happen, just allow. As the knees fall to the side, the top side of the pelvis gently lifts and ever so gently rotates the spine. As you continue with these same movements, allow the arms to slowly snow angel overhead. And with the arms overhead, it's okay for the windshield wipers to get so large that weight might shift onto one side of the body. Just make sure that feels okay on the inside of the top knee. You can even start to push a little extra in the back foot to help with allowing this movement to grow. We're just starting to build sensation in the body and get a sense of everything being connected. Right? And so as we move into the rest of our sequences, we'll strive for this sense of noticing and allowing the whole body to follow each movement that we explore. And take the next few breaths to find your way back to center, but don't rush. Think of it as like an unfolding. And from this centered place, we can begin our sequence. So point the elbows up, kind of like the knees are bent up, and slowly start to bring the knees and elbows towards one another. Allow the head to lift just a little bit. And then hands to shins. Glide the hands up the legs for a sliding crunch. Slowly reverse that movement. So hands slide down the legs, feet back to the earth. And then let the knees fall out and the hands fall out at the same time. Baddha Konasana. Gently start to glide the feet away from you, and eventually the toes will want to point upward, and allow that to happen. And next time the hands will do it at the same time, but for this first round the hands can go second. And now you know the pathway. We'll do this a few more times. So elbows towards knees, sliding crunch, and then reverse. Feet down, knees and palms open towards the sides, external rotation in hips and shoulders, and then snow angel arms as the feet glide away, kick into the legs until they rotate to a neutral position, and then repeat. And try to slow everything down and find this continuity where there's not a beginning or an end to the sequence, almost just a circling of the arms and the legs in unison. There is a sense of the upper body mirroring the lower body. That just helps you find evenness and balance. Do one last round, and we'll all meet the next time the hands gently glide down the legs. You don't have to rush to get there. From that position, bring fingertips behind the ears and slowly curl up towards the legs, left knee in, and lower the right leg with control. And then lift it back up and just take a couple of these leg lifts and lowers, trying to find smoothness. The leg doesn't have to go all the way down. Sometimes that's quite intense in the psoas, so you can always bend the knee, whatever it takes to feel smooth here. And the next time the leg lowers, allow the head to lower as well, and start to rock the left knee left and right, just like those windshield wipers, but with the foot free. You might notice you get a little extra movement here. The next time the knee crosses the body, extend the left leg away from you, and so it's almost in line with the right foot slightly. And then bring it to the ground. I know the blanket's there. It's not really going to mess with us, so don't worry if you have the blanket there. And slowly use that left toe to control your way onto your belly. And this is going to be sort of asymmetrical, where the right leg is straight back, but the left leg shoots off to the side. And that's on purpose, so be okay with that. Release. Actually, keep the hands there. And let's do some backwards crunches. Just gently lengthening the front of the body as you peel up for a challenging cobra. The next time you lift, release hands underneath the shoulders, and then just gently explore the shoulders a little bit by shifting weight from right to left. Nice. And just make sure you can feel the breath filling you from the inside. If you ever notice that you're holding, feel free to make smaller movements or come out for a moment to regain the breath. Bring your Cobra to center. Slide the hands a little further back, and then push into the hands to lift into kind of a table with the right knee down, but the left leg extended. We'll slowly shift the hips all the way back, and as you do this, the legs should roughly be off to the side, so you might make adjustments. And then push down into the right knee, floating up to tabletop with the left leg extended. Take a moment to paw out the hands, finding softness in the knuckles, in the wrists, in the shoulders. And then from center, bring more weight into the right hand and slowly stack the left shoulder on the right, and then let the left wrist stack on top of that. And then reverse that movement. Push into the hands, send the hips back, and curl the spine, kind of like cat pose. Feel the strength in the front of the body, and then as you push down into the right knee, let the hands hover. Slowly stack the spine, lengthening the front of the body. Arms drip down to cactus, and then we'll begin that sequence again. So hands down like tabletop. Shift weight into right hand. Slowly stack the joints. Left hand reaches towards the sky. And then reverse that so the left arm drips down. Hips back, but we want a lot of support in the front of the body. So it's like the hips are hovering and you can lift the hands and feel like, wow, I have full control here. Push down into the right knee, slowly letting the front of the body unfurl. And at the top, let the arms melt open and back. We'll do that just one more time. Hands to table for our Parigasana twist. And then release the lifted hand. Think of the hips sending back almost like a crunch here. So actually, let's try it. Bring fingertips to the back of the head and slowly curl towards that right leg. And we're not going to do this every time, but drop the hands down and envision that same action happening. Push down into the right knee, slowly rising up, reach up, and then melt the arms, and just allow the heart to sprout open for a moment. And then if you do have sensitive knees, release the hands, grab your blanket, and slide it underneath that right knee. This first round won't be so intense on the knee, but hey, the blanket's right there. You can try it. Let's shift the weight into the right leg. Come onto the left tiptoe so that you really have most of your weight and control in the right leg. And just slowly start lifting and lowering the left toe and walking it in little by little in front of the right knee. And imagine you're on a balance beam. So this is really narrow and it's going to feel hard. And that's actually really good. If it's frustrating, it's okay to have the foot a little bit wider. But if you've ever done a slack line, you know that wiggly sensation of the hips trying to find balance is so incredibly nourishing. As long as there's no pain, and mental pain counts. The arms to T should help with balance. Nice. And if the front foot ends up being on a blanket like mine, scoot forward just so the foot finds the mat, and bring more weight into that front foot, and then bring even weight into both legs. So there's a shifting happening, right? We're finding evenness and then more support in the front leg. As you do that, bring your awareness to the front hip. If your arms are tired, you can bring your fingertips to your shoulders or your hips. Oh, hips feels really good. Let's all do that. Because some of us are masochists and need that little cue. And so just check in with the front knee and the front hip as more weight shifts into that foot and the knee comes past the ankle. Be sure to keep weight in the heel. right? As long as weight's in the heel and there's no pain in the front knee, it's totally fine for the knee to come past the ankle. The next time the weight shifts, lean forward, so even more weight comes into that front leg, and slowly allow the back leg to extend, let the knee lift, and just start to shift the weight into the front leg so much that the back leg can lift and lower. And as you do that, let the right leg start to adjust itself. So you're not thinking about like, oh, where do I want my leg? You're just allowing. And each time the foot comes down, it might be in a new position until it finds something really comfortable. Arms to T can help with balance. And you guys look great. So the next time the foot comes down, pause there and bring your equal weight. And then soften the front knee. Scoop the air up in front of you with the arms, letting the front of the body lengthen for Virabhadrasana 1. And then we're going to play with Virabhadrasana 1, coming in and out of it. So shift into the left foot, and we're going to go through that same process in front of us. So now the right leg swings forward, and then the knee bends, and you just take a couple of bounces, letting the foot come wider, letting it come narrower, letting it find the most natural place, not for a deep hip opener, but for the most stable position. Next time the foot lands, test it by softening into the front knee and lifting the arms up for Virabhadrasana 1 on the other side. Nice. And now let's play between those two. So shift the weight into the back foot. Allow the leg to swing back into Vira 1 behind you. And then as you shift the weight, arms to T, and swing the leg in front of you as the knee bends, the arms lift. So take a few of these explorations, and once you get the hang of it, try to move as slowly as possible through the middle where the leg is pendulum swinging, so there's a sense of building balance and stability. Nice. Great. And the next time the leg swings forward, pause there, let the arms drop, give yourself a little break, shift the weight into the right foot, and slowly drag the left foot forward to the top of the mat, or one of the tops of the mat. We have a lot of directions. Imagine the body like a raft full of air, and let it gently start to evenly deflate. So there's a sense of the knees and ankles and hips and all the vertebra of the spine slowly softening, but not one taking any more of the hinge. And once the hands make it towards the feet, slowly allow the hips to lower. Bring your bum all the way down, and then just roll forward and back. And I am not quite in the center of my mat. So the next time I roll up, I'm just going to place hands behind me, shift my hips back so that I can roll and be nice and even in the center of my mat. And then we'll all release the legs and the arms in a long line. As long as this is comfortable on your shoulders. You can always have your hands at an angle or down by the sides. We'll just take a moment to rest before we repeat that on the second side. So just come back to the breath, come back to the sense of connecting to the earth and being supported, being soft. Notice any changes in your body after just a few minutes of movement and awareness. And we'll begin by slowly dragging the hands and feet towards our body so the knees and elbows lift and eventually touch. Hands to shins, sliding, crunch, and then reverse that so the knees bend, feet towards the earth, hands slide to the quads. Palms and knees open, Baddha Konasana, and then snow angel arms overhead as the feet drag away, eventually neutralizing. And do this 2 more times on your own, starting with the sliding crunch, and then Baddha Konasana, and then that full body extension. Nice job moving really consciously, everybody. You look so fluid. We'll all meet the next time the knees bend and the hands are on the quads at the bottom of that sliding crunch. And so now, fingertips behind ears, allow the body to crunch up and slowly extend the left leg and lower it down. And you don't have to lift very high with the leg or with the body. Try to find as much ease as possible. As the left leg lifts and lowers any amount, it's totally fine to bend the knee. We're trying to find the path of least resistance. The next time the leg extends, allow the head to release as well, and then just start to windshield wiper the right shin from side. Actually, I guess it's a thigh bone that looks like a windshield wiper. And the next time the leg crosses the body towards the screen, extend it away from you and bring the toe down and slowly roll onto the left side of the body. You can move your blanket out of the way if you need to. And then push into the toe to just help encourage the body to open a little bit. And then return to the side body. And this time, use the toe to control your way onto your belly, letting the toe slide off to the right behind you at a 45-degree angle until both elbows touch the earth. Reach the left leg straight back and slowly lengthen the front of the body for our Cobra reverse crunch. Take a couple of pulses here, really bringing a lot of awareness to the left side of the body and the length and support there. And then the next time you lift, hands underneath shoulders, gently drag the hands back and sway from side to side any amount. Come back to center, tuck the left toes underneath, push into the left knee and push into the hands to slowly shift the hips all the way back. Let the right knee lift. Nice, great adjustment. And once the hips make it all the way to the heels, push down into the legs, returning the weight forward into your tabletop. Paw out the hands. Find softness in the upper body so you feel supported but really buoyant. The next time the weight comes into the left hand, slowly push down into the left hand, letting everything just naturally stack and open. Beautiful. And then reverse that motion in almost like a melting sense. Push back, hips to heels, remembering that crunch action. And then push down into the legs, guide the hips forward, let the spine stack, and slowly unfurl the spine, reach up, and then melt the arms open to cactus so the heart can emerge. And then back to the beginning. Drop hands to tabletop. Shift weight to the left, opening the right arm, the right wing, kind of feels like. Release the right hand down, send the weight back, and just like we tried before, float the fingertips to behind the ears, and just feel the support on the front of the body, curl towards the knee, and then push down into the legs to slowly unfurl. We're not going to bring our hands there every time, but see if you can remember that sense of crunching. Reach up, and then open one last time on your own if you remember it. Starting at tabletop, and we've got the twist, sending the hips back, and then stacking. And remember, we're trying to smooth these motions out. Doesn't matter how far you go. Just want to feel supported and almost in ease. Oh, that was beautiful, Nomi. The next time the hands come down. We've gone too far, so push down into the knee, come back to kneeling. Sorry about that, guys. And then come on to the right toes and slowly start to bend the right knee and take those bounces, guiding the right toes little by little, like a reverse clock, until the foot comes in front of the left knee. Option for the blanket if your knee needs that, and it should feel hard. If you're like, why am I so imbalanced? It's because this is really hard. So the legs are roughly at right angles, arms to T. Just let yourself wiggle around a little bit. If it doesn't feel hard, I'm going to encourage you to make it hard by crossing the front leg slightly beyond the left knee and bringing it in more. The shorter the stance is, that can change it too. And just take a moment to find that. And then adjust the right foot so it's no longer crossed. Shift the weight into the front foot and bend and extend a couple of times. So you can just start to get used to taking more weight in that ankle, in that knee, in that hip. Hands can release to the hips. The next time the knee bends, check in, make sure you've got weight in your ankle. That's really going to help our knees out in the back line of the body. And slowly start to extend the left leg, rising up. And then shift the weight into the front leg, arms to T to help with balance. Start to bounce that back foot up and down, letting it adjust, letting it come closer to you until it's really natural for the heel to come down. The back toes are mostly forward. It's going to feel like pretty short Virabhadrasana 1, and that's great. Bend the front knee, reach the arms up. Observe a couple of breath flows and just feel really stable, really supported. You guys all look great. And then shift the weight into the front foot, arms to T for balance. Same thing, but now the left leg swings forward and to the left, and take your bounces. And when you find a sweet spot where it's almost like it keeps landing in the same spot, then you know, okay, this is good. My body's guiding me here. The next time the foot lands, equal weight in both feet, bend left knee, scoop the air up, Vira 1. And then you can start to play between these two. So the arms will drop to T as you come through the middle, and then as the foot comes behind, bend knee, lift arms. T through the middle, and then bend knee, lift arms. And the steps might be really small. You can think of this as a baby warrior, but that's, I guess, sort of a scary image. You know what I mean. Bonsai warrior, I've heard that. That's kind of fun. The next time the foot steps forward, pause there. Feel free to inchworm that foot a little further forward. Equal weight in both feet. Bend knee, scoop air up, and just take a moment in this really grounded Virabhadrasana 1 that you've earned with your effort. Notice the width from left to right. This stance is probably going to feel wider than you're used to. Maybe I'll translate that to more spacious. And then shift the weight forward. Drag the back leg to meet it, and then bring both feet to the earth. Drop the arms and just pause for a moment in Tadasana. Let there be equal weight in the feet. Envision those 3 points of each foot where we started class, inner and outer ball mound and center of the heel. Just try to feel each of those points anchoring. And then we'll start to deflate our raft, releasing forward as effortlessly as possible so everything flexes at the same time. Gently melting forward. Once hands reach feet or earth, you can allow the hips to gently lower, and feel free to heel toe the feet a little wider so there's a space for your pelvis. And then just start to rock and roll nice and slow, as long as that's comfortable. If that doesn't feel good on the back body, depending on your tissue and your bones, you can just meet us on the back. And if you need to make any adjustments, somehow I ended up in the middle this time, but you can find your way there. And then we'll reach hands and legs apart in this long line, just melting on the back. And then let the elbows bend and soften towards the earth so the shoulders can just be really relaxed. Come back to the breath. Notice any sense of the body enlivening from the inside out. And we will repeat that sequence. Now is a great time to have a sip of water. It's also a great time to go to the next track, which I think is like Paspa 2. Someone asked me to say the names because they watched the class later, and it feels really hard. They're always really weird names. What? All right, so hopefully the hips are starting to warm up and we can find more and more glide and flow, though you guys have looked very nice and supported the whole time. And so whenever you're ready, we'll return to that eye and slowly bend knees and elbows, curling up to that sliding crunch. And then melting that back down. And we'll just do one of these. Knees and elbows open, everything extends. And then we'll begin it again just to get our hands towards the thighs, crunching up. And as you melt back down, bring the fingertips behind the head, bend the left knee in, and allow the right leg to slowly lower. We're going to add on here. So we'll start with the crunch, and then slowly let the body release down. Let the knee fall off to the side like a fallen tree pose. And then slowly kick into the left leg, letting the whole left leg inflate and fill and extend. It'll be off at a 45-degree angle. And then slowly cross the left leg over the right and let it start to pull you onto the right side of the body, but not all the way over. We're just coming onto the side. And then slowly bend the left knee, returning onto the back, and we'll start that over from the crunch. So curl up towards the leg. Can you turn it down a little? It's so intense. Oh, sorry, my so from the crunch, fallen tree, and then let the left leg fill up, extending at a 45-degree angle, nice and slow as all the joints express themselves. And then cross the left leg over, let it pull you onto the right side of the body, and let the toe catch you. So there's really a sense of the toe leading the way here. You can even point and flex the toe a couple of times, and notice how that can just help you rock on that side body a little bit. And then jump with your toe so it slowly pulls you onto your back or pushes you. Bend the left knee back to the crunch. Fallen tree. Left leg fills and extends off at an angle. And then cross the leg over. Let's do it one last time so the body gets used to it. So take the little bend and extend of the toe. Let it push you right into the crunch. And then let everything release for a moment and fallen tree. Pause. And then slowly glide the left heel out, letting that left leg fill and expand. Drag the left heel along the mat. Cross it over the right leg. And this time we'll keep going. So as we roll onto the side, we can let the left leg continue to extend at that 45-degree angle until you can bring the left elbow down, and then let the elbows come away from each other. Peel up in our crunching cobra. release the hands underneath the shoulders. And we're going to add on here. So start by dragging the hands back so the front of the body can lengthen. And then as you release the cobra, lift the hands to the shoulders. And then release the hands back down. And we're going to do that a couple of times. And it starts to feel a little bit like a spring mechanism. So as the body lowers, the hands like lift really quickly, almost like you just touched a hot oven. And just notice after the hands lift really quickly, if it's a little bit easier to use the arms on the next round to lift a little higher. The next time you come up, pause for a moment, and then slowly release the body down. Tuck the right toes under, push back into your Parigasana, bowing Parigasana, we can call it. Push down into the right knee, floating up to table. And then push into the right hand for our twisting Parigasana. Release the lifted hand. We're going to add on here, now that the hips are nice and warm and strong, from tabletop, allow the left leg to start to glide out any amount, but make sure you feel like you have control. And then glide the leg back in. And do this a few times. You don't want to go too far where you lose control. Just want to feel that articulation of the inner leg line lengthening, eccentrically contracting, and then drawing back in. And the next time it draws back in, feel all that strength rising up through the center of the body as the hips push back into that crunching Parigasana, and then push down to express all of that energy upward, letting the body open, arms melt open, and then back to the beginning. So from table, we can twist open, and then release and allow the leg to drag in and out. And the next time it drags in, feel all of that support. As you crunch towards the knee, you can hover the hands if you feel like it, and then let that energy express itself upward. Everything opens and extends at the top. And then stay up, shift the weight into the right knee, and step the left foot in front, just like we did before. And so this is where the blanket might come in handy. We're going to play with bending the back knee a little bit, and so just make sure that feels comfortable. And as you bend the back knee, it's going to make the balance a little harder, right? Because you've got an even smaller footprint with our balancing lunge. So just find a moment to let the pelvis stabilize. And then if it's comfortable, you're welcome to hold on to the foot and just gently kick into the foot to lengthen upward. Check in with the front leg. Bring more weight into the heel. It's going to make it really hard, right? This is our moment to find our balance and stability. And then release foot, hands to T. Shift the weight into the front foot. Let the back leg extend. And we'll take a moment to bounce into Virabhadrasana 1. And just notice if it feels a little more natural. Now that we've gone through this on both sides. And then arms to T and swing the leg forward and bounce in the front. And then take one more time each direction. We'll all meet with the right leg in front. So Virabhadrasana 1 towards the front of the mat. The next time the foot anchors, pause there, make any adjustments to feel as supported as possible. And then extend the leg. Push into the feet, reach up. Imagine your raft like totally filling with air and really puffing up in all directions. And then allow that raft to start deflating. So first, maybe the arms soften, the legs start to soften, the ankles and knees and hips flex, and we can just start to deflate over the right leg with no resistance. So you don't even feel it as like a hip hinge or anything. It's just like the body melting over the right leg. And then we'll reverse that process, and it can help to bend the knees and make sure there's a lot of weight in the left foot so the front hip doesn't feel too intense here. Slowly start to inflate the body, feeling an evenness support you in all directions as you come back up. Nice. And then shift the weight into the front foot. Drag the back foot forward and through. And notice how that helps activate the front of the body. And we'll slowly circle the leg to the left and then bring it into tree. And you can bend the elbows and let them sink towards the body. And just take a moment, let the right hip sink off to the right and let the whole right side of the body tighten and pull the hips even. I'll turn so you can see that just in case. So we sink and then we let everything pull us to center. And we're going to repeat that whole sequence again. So let the left leg swing back and plant, Vira 1. And then the whole body fills and extends and reaches up. And then let everything deflate over the front leg, Parshvottanasana, just melting with ease. Doesn't matter how far you go, but feel support. And then eventually reverse it, but make sure there's a lot of support from the back leg so that front hip doesn't take too much here. Bend the front knee, shift the weight, drag the left foot forward, and then open it to the side so it's pointed towards the screen. Bend the knee, let the foot land on the leg. Elbows can melt in towards the body, just like we're doing on our back in our fallen tree. One last time. So arms to T, let the left foot bounce back. You can take as many bounces as you need, but you might find it just goes right there. Bend the front knee, reach up, Virabhadrasana 1. Oh yeah, you can go ahead if you remember the sequence. And then we reach up and we slowly deflate down. Feeling support, feeling evenness. And then we reverse that, letting everything fill, slowly expanding in all directions. And from the top, drag the back leg forward, kick it through, circle it all the way around. This time, keep circling it. So it circles all the way behind you. And arms to T for balance. Kick out through that foot so much that you let the toes open off to the side slightly. Bend the front knee. Set the left foot down. So different positioning. You might find yourself, in a more natural Virabhadrasana too. And nice, you guys just found it. Beautiful. So take a moment here to just wiggle through the hips and let the feet step out any amount that you need to. And then extend the right leg. Turn the toes towards center. So all 10 toes are facing the long edge of the mat. And start to bend into the left knee. Arms reach forward. And bring your awareness to the back of the hips. We haven't had a lot of work in the back of the hips yet, so just take some pulses here. Try to feel the heels anchoring in and the line of support up from the heels to the sits bones. So the big, strong back line of the body supporting you here. Keep a lot of weight in the heels. Doesn't matter how far you go, but if you're feeling it, you can crouch quite low here. And the next time you come up, turn the right toes out, back to Virabhadrasana 2. Take a moment, give that left leg a little bit of a break, and then we'll repeat it. So toes turn in, take your squat as low as is comfortable, and then as you let the left leg fill and expand, turn the right toes out immediately, just going back into that restful Vira 2. We'll do it one last time. Beautiful. So the next time the toes turn, let's just slowly deflate through center into Prasarita Padottanasana. So just a gentle straddle forward fold. Let the knees bend. Remember, everything just evenly deflates. So there's no pushing, there's just an allowing. And then slowly reverse that. So everything fills back up. You can lift all the way back up to 5-pointed star, just noticing a sense of ease and buoyancy. Imagine you could stay here for an hour and not get tired, right? So if you need to make an adjustment, do it. Find that little bit of ease. And don't worry, you don't actually have to do that. And now we'll find our way through that crouch one more time. So extend the arms forward. Shift the weight into the left foot. A lot of weight back in the heels, and slowly bend the left knee. If this is feeling great, you can lower all the way. If you want some more support, place the hands down and then start to lower the hips so that you've just got a little bit more control. And then we'll bring our hips all the way down. Great. Bring the left heel in towards the midline and just take a nice, easy twist to the left. Let the left hip soften. It just did a lot of work. And so if you want to melt over the hip a little bit more, you can. And then allow the right leg to stack. You should be roughly in the middle of the mat, and if you're not, you can wiggle around till the thigh bones, the knees are at the middle. Slowly glide the left arm down. Rest on your side. And then reach the right arm forward and draw a big circle. So you eventually open both shoulders onto the mat, lift the knees, scooch the hips onto the mat. And you can pause right here, or if you would like to let the legs unfold for a moment of rest before we do the second side of that sequence, it's totally up to you. So this is our last round before the cool down. So let this be as fluid and supportive as possible. We'll just take one more moment to notice the breath as we prepare. Bend knees and elbows, let them curl up towards one another, and then glide the hands up. And slowly release everything down. Knees fall open, palms fall open. For one moment, let's actually hold this for a moment because it feels good. Well, only hold it if it feels good. And then everything fills up so the arms and legs stretch apart, everything expands. Elbows and knees towards one another, hands to shins, glide up. But this time, as we glide down, bend the right knee, fingertips behind ears, let the left leg slowly extend, and then crunch up towards the right knee. Lower the head at the same time that the right knee falls out to the side, fallen tree. Let the right leg fill and extend off to a 45-degree angle away from you, and then cross the leg over, bringing the right big toe down, gently coming onto the side, and then point into the right foot. Let that momentum shift you all the way back to the crunch. Right knee in, curl up, release down, fallen tree. Express the right leg off to the side and then glide it over, big toe down, and then bounce back to the crunch. 2 more. On your own, if you know it, you can go at your own pace. Again, trying to smooth out the movements, controlling your way, even if there is a sense of momentum. The next time the right foot crosses the left off to the side, we'll roll all the way onto the side and pause. Let the elbows be soft, and you can just point into that foot a couple of times, letting the legs soften and extend. And then slowly let the right foot slide off so that you can roll all the way onto the belly. Keep the hands behind you and lengthen the front of the body for our Cobra reverse crunch. And then hands underneath the shoulders. And I'm going to demo this one time because I think it doesn't really make sense just to hear it. So from Cobra, as you release the body, you'll pull your arms up. So it's sort of like this. And then just notice if the arms can start to pulsate as you do that. So there's a recoil, and then they almost come back stronger. If you would like to pause in Cobra, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to. And then eventually we'll tuck left toes under, we'll push into the hands and send the hips all the way back into our bowing Parigasana. Push down into the legs, rising up to table. Lift the right hand for the twist. And then we'll add on with that gliding right leg. So both hands down, let the left foot glide off to the side, and then use the strength of the inner legs to pull it back. It might not go very far, and that's okay. You want to stay in the realm of having control. Know me, if you had socks on that wood floor, man, that would be really awesome. The next time the leg drags in, feel that strength drawing all the way into your center. Press the hips back, just like our crunch before, and then push down into the legs, floating all the way up. Elbows melt at the top, and then we repeat 2 more times. So hands down, stack. Release, drag the foot in and out. Send the hips back. Slowly unfold. Actually, only 1 more time, so you're done. You did it. From the top now, shift the weight into the left knee and slowly bounce the right leg in front. And you want it directly in front because that's really what's going to help with our balance. And then make sure you can keep the weight in that front heel. It's going to be harder as you bend the back knee because it's going to shift the weight forward. So option to just play with bending the knee in and out, or grab the foot as long as there's no strain. It is hard for balance, so just be patient and compassionate with yourself. And then release the foot. Bring extra weight into the front leg so you feel everything engage, and then lift the back knee. We'll take a moment to bounce into Virabhadrasana 1 with the right foot in front, and then come through center, arms to T, and step the left foot in front for Virabhadrasana 1 on the other leg. And then pause and Vira 1, and here's where we'll add on. So start by extending the legs, let everything fill and open and expand. And then let everything start to soften and deflate for our melting Virabhadrasana. Nice and easy, no strain. Press evenly through both feet and slowly reverse that motion, coming all the way back up. And then shift the weight forward, drag the right foot forward. Crunch slightly towards it, and then circle it off to the right. Bend the knee, foot to thigh. Vrikshasana, elbows can come in if you like that. And then we repeat by stepping the right foot back. Virabhadrasana 1. Extend and expand. And then melting Virabhadrasana, where everything evenly deflates. Nice control, everybody. And then reverse that, coming back up. Beautiful. Shift the weight into the left foot. Drag the right foot forward. And then circle it open and bring it in for tree. Arms can express however you want. And then we'll do 1 last round. So right foot steps back, reach up, bend knee. Straighten both legs, expand. And melt everything down. Fill everything back up. Shift the weight, drag the leg forward. This time we'll circle the foot all the way around, bend the left knee, find a drishti so you've got a lot of focus, arms to T, kick into that right foot so much that the hips open and the toes turn, and then slowly bend the left knee, kicking the right foot as far, nice. Slowly lowering it into Virabhadrasana 2, and take a moment to wiggle that right foot back if it's too far forward. Pause for a moment in Virabhadrasana 2, just feeling equal weight in both feet. Let the shoulders soften. Wow, you guys look awesome. Nice jam. Turn the feet, bend the right knee, and slowly start to crouch into that right leg, bringing the weight into the heels. And then just take a couple of pulses there. And you don't have to go far because it can be quite intense, right? I want your right hip, your right knee, your right ankle to feel awesome. So maybe you're just up here. I shouldn't say it. Maybe you're up here and that's perfect. Explore it. And then eventually after the crouch, the next time the right leg expands, turn the left toes out, go right into Vira 2. And then start to play between those two shapes. So there's a sense of the right leg like propelling you and opening you. And nice, yes, awesome. And as you express this in your own way, adjust the feet, do whatever the body starts to direct you into. And the next time you come up, pause for one last moment in Virabhadrasana 2 and just be aware of any warmth in the right side of the body. Turn the toes forward, melting Prasarita Padottanasana. Let everything just start to soften. Keep weight in the heels as you release forward. You can gently bend one knee at a time. As you do that, let the spine just naturally sway. And then from center, press into the feet. Keep the knees soft so that you can roll up with no strain. Arms float back up to T. Turn the left toes out one last time. Vira 2. And then turn the left toes all the way into the crouch. If you want more support, drop the hands down. Otherwise, you can slowly lower the glutes towards the heels. Feel free to pause there as long as you want. And then bring everything down. Let the right knee fall out and drag the left knee in so the legs are staggered. Actually, let's do that a little differently. Bring the soles of feet in front of you evenly. So you've got a lot of space in your hips. Reach the arms up. And go forward 2 tracks to the Tibetan Singing Bowl track. This is our cool down. And we have a really nice cool down track if you're listening. Okay. So from here, we've done a lot of hip work. I don't need to tell you that. We're just going to try to find as much ease as we lift and lower the legs. So it does take some strength, right? It does take some control, but we're rolling over the hips and we're just trying to allow the thighs to rotate. The knees might not make it all the way down. That's totally fine. Maybe you're at the center, or maybe this feels good. So just take a moment to explore that for yourself. And then the next time the knees point towards the right, you can support yourself as the knees fall all the way down. And turn over that right knee. Let the hands frame the right knee and just shift the weight from side to side so you're exploring the right side of the hip, the outer leg line. Wiggle the hips a little bit and make any adjustments. Sometimes the angle of the thighs here is too intense, so it's okay to make smaller angles. And then push the right knee down into the mat and just notice how that kind of illuminates everything in that leg. Keep that not in an intense way as you melt over the leg any amount. And if this is not comfortable, you feel too intense of a stretch, come out of it and just keep massaging, keep wiggling, and don't worry about resting. Make sure you can breathe, and even if you have released over the leg, it can still be nice to make little tiny wiggles to massage the right hip, the right IT band, which is the outside of that right thigh that's touching the earth. Keep that gentle pressure. You can bend the left elbow and bring the left palm to the forehead for a more relaxing experience. And see if you can direct the breath towards any areas of tightness. Feel free to change the angle of your body. That will change where you feel the stretch in the hips. And then release the hands down and slow motion. Start to press yourself up, but really try to milk it, like just 1 millimeter at a time. That sense of filling and expanding that we've been working with all of class. Lift the left leg, cross it over the right, and just take a nice easy twist to the left before we do the second side. And then slowly step the left foot off to the side, back to where we were before. So feet wide, hands up. Let the feet be wider than your hips. Then just take a couple of those rocks from side to side. Unless they weren't comfortable, if you didn't like those, then just we'll meet on the left side. The next time the knees fall over to the left, pause there, and let's just say hello to that left leg. So start by wiggling the hips a little bit, patting out the hands, and give yourself the freedom to make adjustments with the legs. Make adjustments with which direction you want your body to point. There is not one answer, so think of it as a quest to find your best release here. If you would like to lower more, you can, but just bring a gentle engagement into the leg by pushing down into the mat. And notice if that might even help you get more length and actually more release. You can play with pressing and then releasing, pressing and then releasing. If you liked supporting your forehead, bend one elbow, bringing palm to forehead. And just make sure you can breathe, make sure you can feel, and make any tiny little wiggles to just continue massaging and releasing through the spiral line of the body and that outer leg line. We can't even stretch our IT band, but we can massage it. So that's motivation to keep bringing varying pressure to the outside of that thigh. And then 1 millimeter at a time, start to bring yourself back up, feeling the body fill and expand, becoming more spacious. And now let the right leg swing around, crossing over the left. And then just gently twist into the right leg, letting the back side of the rib cage, the right side of the rib cage, just gently pull back to deepen your twist. Notice any space behind the left ear to just gently lengthen, bringing the neck subtly into the twist. Make sure you can breathe. And then slowly release the twist so you're pointed towards your right foot. Bring your hands behind you and glide the right leg open until the soles of the feet can touch, and bring the feet forward so you've got a nice big diamond in front of you. Hands behind you slightly, and just ever so gently lift and lower the knees. And just try to let this feel soft and easy, melting away any last tension in the hip complex. If you would like to gently fold forward, we'll just be here for a moment, but you can bring your hands to your knees or your calves and just let the spine soften, but try to release any urge of like pushing deeper. Remember that deflating, right? You can deflate, which is effortless. There's no gripping. There's no straining as you deflate. And then inflate once again. And then we can prepare for meditation. So we just have a few minutes for meditation, about 7 minutes. So if you want to grab a cushion or just roll up your blanket or something, you can. Though our music is pretty mellow, I will encourage you to hit pause on the music. Feel free to grab a sip of water. And then let your body come to center. And we've worked a lot with this concept of inflating and deflating. And so imagine that happening with each breath in such a subtle way that only you can see it. But as the inhale naturally fills you, you're not drawing in, it's just this effortless expansion in all directions. And the exhale is an effortless deflation in all directions. And then whatever you were imagining, scale it back so it's even subtler. And we'll do a natural breath practice with the mantra Hum Sa. And this is one of our lineage mantras, which means it carries a lot of Shakti, divine, spiritual energy that can help us on our quest to become clearer and happier and brighter. And so as the breath inflates you on the inhale, just quietly repeat the syllable hum, just as subtle as the breath. And as the breath quietly deflates you on the exhale, repeat the syllable sa. And let the mantra and the breath be so intrinsically linked that it's as if the hum is filling you, and as if the sa is releasing you. Hum Sa means I am that, referring to our supreme cosmic consciousness and the inner self, the state of perfection. It's real and eternal within each of our own being. And so with each breath, imagine feeling that state a little bit more. And I'm going to phrase that another way. That state is already there. So imagine each exhale releasing something obscuring that state, releasing something that's between you and the experience of your true nature. Just like our physical practice is an effort to release effort and be more natural, see if you can approach your breath and your mind in the same way. Just releasing and softening and letting your true nature emerge. You don't have to create it or seek it out. You're welcome to stay upright for as long as it serves you, and you can also make your way onto your back. If there's any last movements the body's craving, please be my guests. Otherwise, you have certainly earned your stillness of body and mind. So we'll take the final portion of class to either continue meditating or release in Shavasana. Just like where we began, but maybe even easier now, just take a moment to feel the body melting and pooling. And instead of identifying with the pool, identify with that sensation of continuously melting and releasing. And we'll rest here for the remainder of class. Let your awareness come back towards the body. And just notice that possibility of being in tune with the you that is beyond your body. And try to keep it in that observational space as you make gentle movements and allow the breath to naturally illuminate more of you. And start to explore a pathway up to seated. And we'll meet with our hands resting at our heart. Thank you all for sharing this practice. Namaste. So good to see you. Thanks for coming. Have a great week, everybody. Hey, Nomi, am I saying your name right? Oh, I can't hear you. Do you know how to unmute? Noemi. That's beautiful. I thought it might, like the O and E might be separate, but thank you. I've been wondering. It's really beautiful, and I love having you in class, so thanks so much for coming. Take care. Aloha. Thanks for coming, Tammy. Thanks for coming, Kelsey and Jam. Great to see you guys. Take care, everybody.